Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie. It's finally here. This is a very exciting day.
This is a big day for the Bourbon Van. This is our very first ever single barrel selection. That's all ours. That's just for you. And we've been waiting on this for several months. It's finally here, and it is a one-of-a-kind bottle. We are so excited to share it.
This is the first time Trails End 10 has ever been bottled at Cask Strength.
Trails End 10 is a 10-year aged whiskey that then gets additional time in a new charred Garyana oak barrel right here in Oregon, and it's usually bottled at 105 proof. Ours is bottled at 123.1 proof.
And the flavors are huge, and we can't wait for you guys to taste them.
You can click on the link in the description of this video or in the pinned comment on this video. This barrel only yielded about 100 bottles, and these are going to go quickly. You don't want to miss it. It's one of the most exciting whiskeys that we've tried this year, and we're so proud to put our names on it. And now, stick around, because for the next hour, you can watch the entire behind-the-scenes tasting and selection process. We had an absolute blast at Hood River Distilling, at Clear Creek Distillery, chatting with Joe and Garrett, and you'll get to see all the silliness, the hijinks, and the tasting notes, and you'll see exactly why we fell in love with this one right away.
Click the link to get yours today, and enjoy the show.
Well, here we are at Clear Creek Distillery in Hood River, Oregon. So excited to be here. They have set out a nice spread of options for us.
It looks beautiful. I bet it's going to taste delicious.
I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. And it's all bourbon. On this side of the table, we have bourbon finished in apple brandy barrels. This is the Trails End 8 bourbon. And on this side, we have Trails End 10. Obviously, all single barrels, variety of proofs here. They're all at Cask Strength currently. And we're going to taste through them, see what we like, and hopefully choose a delicious barrel that we can share with you very soon.
This is so exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm
you
very
look
excited. I am.
You look wound up. Well, and we're lucky today because Joe and Garrett are here. They're going to guide us a little bit on our tasting, tell us what it is that we're getting into. But I just want to say first off,
we miss you, Caitlin.
Yes, we do miss Caitlin. And so regarding the brandy, the apple brandy finishing here, they make delicious apple brandy. They make all kinds of fruit brandies here, but the apple brandy is really, really delicious. You tried to do the punch. How'd that go?
It's a tough job.
It's a tough gig, yeah.
One time, and I felt like I needed to take a break already.
Okay, good. Now pull it all the way up.
Oh. How many times do you do that?
Takes about 20 minutes.
I can't. Holy smokes!
Yeah.
Holy cow!
So a lot of people ask us.
Well, we shot this today as it was moving from one tank to another. Once it's done distilling, it'll go into the barrel. 4 years later, it becomes apple brandy, and then that barrel is used to age the bourbon that we're going to taste right now. And this is, again, Trails End 8-year bourbon finished in apple brandy barrels.
I'm excited to have you guys try it.
Yay!
All right.
This particular brandy has gotten a fair amount of notoriety. It got Garrett, can you remind me, was it the New York Spirits Competition?
Yes.
New York Spirits Competition, the Trails End Apple received a platinum, which was amazing because it had been out on the market for maybe 2-3 months. I'm not claiming that any of that's actual facts. I don't.
You're on the right channel then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My level of BS is very high, but my facts are very low. Still, it doesn't matter. It's really good. The way that we go about designing a specific finish for a bourbon, a single malt, whatever it is that you look at the spider graph that represents the flavors within a particular spirit, and we will try to highlight one point within that.
We start on the right?
I'd say start on the right. There's
Okay.
3 glasses there. I'd like to join you if,
Yes, please.
By all
if I
means.
can, and
I
we can
would
talk
love
about
it.
things.
So this is 123.2 proof, this first one. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've had the Trails End bourbon finished in apple brandy before, but we've never had it at Cask Strength. This is
Nope.
a new experience for us.
Man. The fruit sweetness. Cinnamon.
Yeah, there's a real nice spice note here.
Nobody wanted to cheers with me?
I'll cheers with you.
Cheers.
I'm actually getting just the hint of a little bit of sage to kind of round it out in that bottom end.
Yum.
It's good, right?
This is good.
And yeah, this is a bit spicy because of the heat, but imagine this with just one ice cube in it. Like I personally think that some of the best whiskey, while it should be enjoyed completely neat, only benefits from the evolution it takes when you put a single ice cube into it. I like that maturation. If you look at the glass when you put a little melting ice in it, you see this convection happening as the exothermic reactions of the water and the alcohol play against each other. And it winds up heightening the nose and makes, as you sip it, even as the proof drops, like ever more enjoyable.
We're always a proponent. There's no bad way to drink your bourbon.
No.
Ice, water, it's all good.
Whatever you need
Yeah,
to
straight
enjoy
ice
it.
water,
Yeah.
it's whatever you like.
I will say you had mentioned sage earlier, and the finish has a nice herbal quality to it. So you have all that sweetness, that vanilla, that cinnamon and spice comes through, but then there is a little bit of that, like, that sage that you mentioned that comes in on the finish.
I can't keep my nose out of this glass. It smells like a vanilla powder dusted candy apple with caramel all over it.
Bourbon cherry, not bourbon, but brandy cherries. You get that nice little. What are the cherries that are covered in chocolate that have that little bit of brandy on the inside of it? You know the ones you get at Governor Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a whole heck of a lot of that, and to me, this is both appropriate for drinking straight cocktails, but almost dessert-like in a
Very.
really nice way without actually adding more substance to your stomach. So it actually clears out a lot of those fats.
Yep.
I'm saying this because I just ate a fistful of onion rings, which is the most appropriate thing to eat before you
Right
taste
before
anything.
tasting.
Exactly. You heard it
Exactly.
here first. This is professional tasting done by professionals.
Yeah.
Onion
Obviously.
rings.
Onion rings right before.
The finish lasts for an eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still
It's-
tasting it.
Wow.
It's really nice. I mean, because we haven't had a Cask Strength version of this before.
It's
It packs a punch. The flavors are
Yeah.
really pronounced and strong, but delicious, and it's nice and
So
Smooth to drink.
we often denote the barrel because the serial numbers are so long. It's usually last 3 to 4 numbers on that itself, and so it might help to just. Is it on there at all?
Yep.
Great. Yeah.
48.
So 048, and so there's going to be a string of nonsense before that, but we always
Yeah.
denote it by the last 3 because often enough we handwrite those things in, and if I can save people carpal tunnel syndrome, I'm going to.
That's fantastic. What a way to kick off.
it's
Yeah.
delicious. I just want to one more comment on this one. A little bit of a marshmallow taste to it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I have come across that so many
Yeah.
times and I've received pushback.
Yeah.
I find marshmallow to be like a very good tasting note.
It is a
and,
good
and
tasting
not
note.
everyone always agrees with me on
I
that
know.
one. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's I just kind of
It's a little like a toasted marshmallow too. There's
It's yummy.
The char is there.
Yeah,
That's
What we're really
fantastic.
honing in on is that Maillard reaction, and forgive me if I pronounced that wrong, because I've never been corrected, but I've always thought I was wrong. But it's that caramelization of carbon, and it's in what it does, and it in its purest form, it does come in the sense of just straight sugar. And so cotton candy, marshmallow, like these
Yeah.
are accurate descriptive terms
Yeah.
that I think a lot of people are afraid to use. But man, is that I agree with you.
Yeah.
Amaretto is another
Oh, right.
one that I would get out of that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a nice quality.
It's nice. All right, I'm gonna save this.
That's-
Right.
one last word for that. One last word. Decadent.
It is very desserty.
That
and
is
delicious.
dessert like in the best possible way. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And at 120 something proof, like did that drink that way?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It is just a wonderful sip.
Yeah.
Very carefully aged. We are
Yeah.
with our single barrel program, we're always very specific
Yeah.
in what we grab. It's not just what's easiest. It's like we kind of go through it and we make sure we're getting you the right things.
Yeah.
Well, one more quick question on that. So that's brandy barrel finished bourbon,
Correct.
but was that brandy barrel used for bourbon previously?
Correct. So
There's a lot of flavor.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on, and that's kind of the beauty of what we've done with this program. The barrel starts as a bourbon barrel, goes to a brandy barrel, and then returns back to a sibling of that same bourbon line. And it's a great use of materials, which I'm a huge proponent of, because whether we want to recognize it or not, bourbon is, barrels are wood, and wood is a limited resource, and so let's be mindful about how much we're using. And there's great ways to elevate your products without having to go and chop down a new tree. And the Trails End line is really, as much of it as it is about exploring the regionality of spirits and brewing and culinary history of the Northwest, it's also about trying to be resourceful in what we have. And for us, those limitations make it more successful because we have definitions in which to play.
Number 2, this is barrel 228, 121.9 proof. Couple proof points lower here.
Thank you.
I don't know why I keep handing them to you that way.
I don't know about this. I'm looking at that color.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's got something really special on it. And at 121, to have it move that thick, you can see this kiss.
Yeah, look at
right there. That's a lovely thing.
Man, the nose is
Green apple.
Yeah, the nose is so strong.
A brighter, there's a different apple note on this one, certainly. Okay.
A little brown sugar on that nose too.
Yeah, light brown. More like a pie filling.
I won't make you cheers every round.
Are you sure?
I'm willing to go back in.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's got a little zing to it.
More kick.
I was going to say,
Not
there's
as
more
sweet.
kick on that initial sip than the first one. But those flavors rush in.
There's a tongue tingle there. It reminds me of the first time I tried a rye whiskey.
Yeah, the spice is really rye-like, and I think what's interesting is that this is lower proof, so you wouldn't necessarily get that. Again, I'm almost I'm leaning slightly underripe peach in terms of flavor. You're getting that tartaric acid tingle, hit, electricity, and it's almost not apple-like in a weird way. Or if it is an apple, it's the apples. It's not a Fuji. It's not a Cosmic Crisp.
Yeah.
It's something that's a little bit more unusual and more of a pie apple, with a lot more personality to it.
Yeah.
And by the way, we are in fruit growers country. This is ground zero for some of the very best fruit in the entire world.
Yeah.
And that's where these apples are coming from. Creates great brandy and produces excellent flavor for your bourbon as well.
The apples we get, I mean, we're working directly with the growers, we're working directly with the orchardists, we're working directly with the packing houses. Like, we are making sure that the apples we get are good quality, are tasty enough to eat right out of the bin, which we do. After 20 years, I don't anymore, because if I look at another piece of fruit, I will die. But outside of that, like, we sort them as they get processed. And so there is a heavy sorting that goes through. This is high quality fruit. I would eat any one of the individual fruits that go into the tanks.
This has a almost a chewy quality to it.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Like, you almost
neat.
you feel like you just want to, like, kind of work your way through. I don't know what I'm going to say there.
It's
but
got it's almost like jackfruit in a way, where it's got that gaminess to it in an odd sense.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the spice flavor on the finish here of like an apple cake, a spice cake, that sort of thing, even with the vanilla frosting on it.
Ooh,
Going back to that
spice cake.
Yeah.
I like that dessert thing happening here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it in this
Spice cake is
selection.
a really good note.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I also agree that it's not obviously not a rye, but it has some of that quality that you get when you drink ryes. Like, I felt the tingle, like, on my tongue, on the roof of my mouth. It felt a little bit chewy. The flavors, like, it was sweet, but it's not as sweet as the first glass that we had.
Definitely not.
No.
And flavorful. And I would actually, if it was a blind, I would think this one was a higher proof than the first one.
I would
even
I
though
would
it's
agree,
not. Yeah.
and it's not. It's what's the first one? 123.
We were at 123 and then 121.
So we just had these proof this morning, and so we know quite accurately what they're at. And one thing I would say for certain is, like, that's the beauty of barrel picks, is that you get a once in a lifetime expression.
Yeah.
Because it's this great compromise and this great conversation between the spirit and the wood itself. And that's why that makes these entire experiences really worthwhile and really interesting. It's kind of, it's the NFT of whiskeys.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
hasn't been a totally lame thing to say.
Yeah. My last note on this one is that it has a little bit of a brininess to it, almost like there's like a sea saltiness to this, on the fruit. So instead of the fruit being like dipped in sugar, there is like a nice sugary quality to it, like the fruit and the sugar. But I'm also getting just a hint of like saltiness.
Would you have noticed that or appreciated it had you never discovered that on Scotch whiskeys for the past year?
Probably not, because I keep trying to make note of what that flavor is. I feel like a lot of times I'll drink something and there's just a note in there that I can't figure it out, and it's always like sea salt,
Yeah.
or like the sea air. Like when you read the description, it's always like the sea air, and I mean,
I like to call it a mouthful of sand because
Yeah.
it's almost entirely in line with like when
Yeah.
you're in the waves and they just decide to
Yes.
dunk you over,
Yep.
and you wake up and you're in the water or you're coughing a little bit. It's in your nose,
Yeah,
and it's
it
going to
is.
be in there for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But it always kind of like contributes something to whatever you eat afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while that might sound like a gross
I know,
description,
but-
it's accurate.
Yeah.
And I kind of like these humbling moments of being like, oh, it reminds me of this really one interesting moment in my life where.
That's great.
sorry, I just
You
sipping
just
on
want to
them.
linger with
I
it.
do, I know.
Cleanse the palate one more time.
So
Yeah.
when we get to the third, after we're done, I'm
Yeah.
going to have one final question because you
perfect.
guys, because this is something for me as a professional to understand this line. I need to reach beyond the walls of the distillery, and so I'm going
Fair enough.
to reach to you.
Okay,
I hope we're doing you justice.
we
You're
are
doing
at
great.
Okay.
lowest proof here.
120.4.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now the color's nice. It's a little bit redder, but it doesn't
does.
sparkle the same way. That middle one, the color was wild.
It is the deepest
not-
of all the three.
Oh, there's
three
a-
colors.
Beautiful color here, though. Yeah, there's a richness.
Man,
to
that
the
line
tone.
is.
Yeah.
That's.
For this proof, that line shouldn't be, but it is, and I'm okay with that. And that's going to have a lot to do with the amount of oils that come out through the distillation. Again, we're starting with whole fruit for just the seasoning of the barrels, but the seasoning is a long process, and so a lot of that's going to get absorbed into the wood itself.
This one doesn't have as much apple punch right off the bat on the nose.
This is the most bourbon of the three, for sure.
That was the impression on the nose.
Ooh,
Garrett,
nice.
good selection, by the way.
Yeah,
Good-
well done.
Good choice. You got three really good, interesting
Yeah.
representations.
They're very different from each other. This
For-
has a
for-
really great vanilla note that
Yeah.
kicks in like 3/4 of the way through.
But a really amazing dark chocolate finish where you get that high cocoa note with that little bit of bitterness, which the
bitterness.
other two didn't have at all.
The bitterness is nice following those. I don't know on its own as a standalone if I'm crazy about it.
Yeah.
I will say in the bitterness defense, and I agree with you because I tend to be, I really like bitter, but it's always the kind of thing that like I'm respectful of. It finishes, it goes away quick.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
bitterness is the bitterness.
I love it.
The bitterness is like the hump of a camel. It's showing up mid-game, but it's finishing and going away pretty quick as well.
The chocolate note is really satisfying. I just leave it on my tongue.
Yeah.
I just sit with it and experience
Just kind of
it.
melts. That's so. It's good to know too the chocolate note, because on the nose I was thinking I know what this flavor is. I'm not sure what it actually is. And then after talking about the chocolate, feeling it on the palate, enjoying that's what you're getting a lot on the nose as well. There is a nice hit of chocolate on the nose.
This one's a little drier. It's got the sides of my mouth watering here.
Great picks, all three different.
Very different.
Yeah.
I mean,
super unique.
that's what's fun for us as distillers is that we don't really know what you want, and quite
Yeah.
honestly, we have a hard time predicting.
Yeah.
But what we can do is offer you a range.
Yeah.
And the offering of a range is really important to us because it's an example of why barrel picks are valued and why they should be pursued.
I find this one very interesting.
Yeah.
At the first sip, I was like, oh, I don't know if this one is my favorite. But now I'm like, there's something about like the way it's coating my mouth, the flavors that I'm getting. It's almost like, I mean, it's not like drinking chocolate, but that experience of like melting.
The spice lingers
with-
forever too.
With the appleness, the vanilla, the sugariness.
I wouldn't
really
say
a kind of almost a fascinating sip.
it reminds me of maybe a caramel corn, maybe a Cracker Jack type of thing, but maybe not
Yeah.
quite. No, maybe Fiddle Faddle. Remember that one?
Yeah.
I think it's
Did
Fiddle
that have some
Faddle.
chocolate on it?
A little.
Yeah.
It could if you got chocolate Fiddle Faddle.
Yeah, Fiddle Faddle Zonks. I don't know if that was a new
Screaming Yellow Zonkers.
Screaming Yellow Zonkers. That is like some deep Gen X cut right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're old.
Quick update for you. I'm not young.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I gave a cursory retaste while
like
you
this.
all were
I know,
talking,
yeah.
and I have kind of a
You have your order?
I believe I do. I would like to kind of discuss with you all a little bit,
Yeah.
or and we don't have to do it now, but I'd be curious what your opinions are between the three. First and foremost, is there one that you're just like, no? What is the? Which doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not right for what you all want.
First blush to me, I have what I think is a clear winner.
Oh.
Because there are two that I really like, but
Okay.
aren't. I don't think either one of them has
Can't pick up two glasses otherwise
has
I'll
a
forget.
mass appeal. The one that I think is the most appealing, as a bourbon channel, who is also looking to pick something very unique, very interesting that you probably haven't had before. I like glass number one.
Interesting.
I think that candied apple vanilla note, the bourbon, the strength of that toasted marshmallow that's coming through. There's barrel char here that I didn't really notice on the other ones. As a bourbon first drinker, that's the one that stands out to me. But then again, I haven't gone back the other way. I haven't A/B tested at all. So it could just be that I got excited when I got to have a drink today.
Oh, never trust your first taste.
I know. Oh no, yeah. That's why I have a hard time with blinds because I
Yeah.
change my answers about 95% of the way through.
Yeah, your notebook is usually torn to
Disaster.
shreds by the end of every video.
So it's interesting. The third one is good.
The third one really coats.
What's interesting is I agree that the first round through, glass number one was my favorite. I liked the flavors it presented. I liked the brightness. I just basically liked everything about it. Glass number two is the one for me that's a little on the fence, only because it drinks, I don't want to say, bitter's not the word, but there's something about the proofiness that comes through on that one. That's one that I could see proofing down.
Yeah, the spice on that is a little bit. I
There's
wouldn't even say
something-
it's over the top. I would say for
Yeah.
some people, it would be a bit of a put off.
Well, you
Yeah.
yourself called it as spice cake, and spice cake
Yeah.
is not the kind of thing that everyone likes.
Yeah.
I tend to like it, but I will agree with you.
Yeah.
Two, for as much as it's something that I would be really excited about, I can understand on a larger appeal, might not be your pick.
That's exactly where I'm at on two, because I just went back to it and had another sip, and I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
That's a great glass
Yeah.
of whiskey.
Every one of these I like.
Yeah.
Number three, the last one, I picked up kiwi on that on the second taste that I never got to before, and I was like, oh damn, kiwi flesh.
Yeah.
And there is something really nice about that.
That's on the nose on glass one.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
There's only one bourbon that I've ever gotten that flavor on, that note.
What was?
Wilderness Trails High Rye Mash Bill
That's
Bottled and
such
Bond.
a nice compliment.
Yeah, the
Thank
6
you.
the 6 year.
Wilderness Trail, we always really liked you guys here at Clear Creek.
We've always liked them too.
They're good folks.
They're great folks, yeah.
I just went back to glass one, and it's definitely. Oh man, these are all really really good. Glass one really hits as a bourbon drinker's. I should say the lingering, ongoing thing. The thing that's hitting my palate about it is just boatloads of vanilla. It's just crushing my palate with vanilla, and I love that.
If I'm looking at the volumes in my glasses, one has the least amount, which is usually a good sign.
I know. I was just thinking that, per usual, I have the least amount of liquid left in my glasses.
You're doing great. You didn't really say, what is your, how are you feeling? Is there one you would eliminate or one that's your front runner by a big margin?
I am in the 1 and 3 camp.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 front runners.
Big difference between those two.
There's a huge difference between the 2. This is where sometimes you get a little tricky, right? Because what you like personally, like you're like, I want to drink this, does not necessarily mean they want to drink this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Killing darlings is part of our lives.
I
It's
know.
important to do.
And so that's something that I like to think about when we're doing these tastings as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, the mass appeal, more of the mass appeal, but I want something that's super interesting too, which both I think 1 and 3.
Well, you're
Hit
in
the mark
camp
on
1
that.
and 3, and I'm in camp 1 and 2.
Wow.
So the only one that we have in common that we really like is glass 1, but maybe we spend a little more time with these and
Absolutely, yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, no call needs to be made today, but just
Yeah.
if I had to weigh in, I'm a 1 and 2 boy.
Yeah. Oh, see you guys.
It's
I
a
can see-
it's a Y chromosome.
Yeah, totally.
Length thing.
I actually drank glass number 2 and I thought he probably likes that one. Like,
Yeah.
probably loves that one.
Yeah, I do. Because it, like you said, it's a spice cake thing.
Yeah.
I like a really balanced sip. I like something with a little spice. I like the fruit, the oak, the caramel, the vanilla. There's a lot of good bourbon qualities coming here. This strange thing about this is, if you're a rye fanatic, which we are, I'm actually surprised you don't like this more because you're a huge rye fanatic. This one has a nice rye note to it, or it seems to, anyways.
The
with that
finish
spice.
is phenomenal on
Yeah.
glass number 2. There's
think-
something about that finish on glass number 2 that's just really nice.
There's even some herbal stuff showing up on the nose here. It's so tough. Let's do a little more tasting, and
Are we going to narrow it down to 1 on this side?
is that what you want to do?
Oh.
This is our first time doing this, so we have to
Well, I don't know.
figure out the best thing that works for us.
You guys could, if I was going to suggest, come up with 2 that you like,
Yeah,
and then come up with 2 of these that you like,
yeah.
and then decide from those 4.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of where I've come across as being the recipe for success.
Yeah.
There's definitely screaming yellow zonkers on glass 3.
Oh yeah, there's.
I don't know what Screaming Yellow Sunkers are.
They were like
I
they were like
remember
a
the
late
package,
70s,
yeah.
early 80s version of Cracker Jack that was like 10 times more sugar and had aliens on the box. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I remember getting a little action figure.
Yeah, it was the
yellow
best.
guy.
Was it a yellow box?
Some of them were, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
I'm pretty sure that they had different flavors.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
I'm going to retire and let Garrett take some spotlight for a moment. It's all
Sounds
yours.
Thank you very
bud.
much, Joe. That was great.
Well, I think we both agree 1, right?
Yeah. So, for me, I've got 1 out front, then 2, then 3. And you feel free to place yours however you like.
Oh, I see. I gotta remember not to mix up my glasses. Hold on. I put them even.
Plenty of taste on it. Yeah,
I know.
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna figure that one out later.
Neck and neck. Typical
Yeah.
Julie tasting.
I'm
It's just
gonna
going to
come
go
back-
right down to the wire.
Yeah, I'm
Those
gonna
glasses
come back
will be
later and
empty.
figure that one out. I was like, I can't.
good quality
Yeah.
and a taster.
Fast forward an hour from now,
An
and
hour
she's going to be
from
drinking
now,
out of the
I'm gonna
bottles.
still be drinking. Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you want. That's now off the record juice.
Oh, that's so funny.
That wouldn't be the first time for you either.
I need to come back and circle around to figure out what I want to put in.
think it's a great idea.
Second and third. That's just my thing.
All right, so Garrett, I think I haven't done any introductions about what the 10-year is. That's on you.
Sure.
You have a lot to do with that. I'll finish pouring. And
Sure,
then
yeah.
chime in.
So we decided to pull 3 of the Trail's End 10 single barrels for you guys. They're all when I was pulling them, as I was taking samples, I was like, man, there's a few of these barrels that really do a really good job of highlighting like certain aspects of what we always talk about with like Oregon oak and like just the elements in which like the barrel can impart on the bourbon. So throughout this and so that's kind of what the Trail's End 10 line is, right? The bourbon gets pulled from the bourbon barrels, gets actually put in Oregon oak barrels and sits there, and we will watch them. We will constantly be tasting them because Oregon oak is such an aggressive oak that if you're not careful with it, it will definitely just over vanilla or whatever it may be that like the aspects of that barrel. So it's very temperamental. But yeah, like when I was going through these, I was like, man, there's a few of these that that are, and I'm not going to spoil anything because I want you all to like,
Yeah.
like taste them,
Fair.
but there are definitely unique, I think, qualities to all three of these bourbon barrel or these Trails End barrels.
What is the oak that gets pitched in there with it, right? It's staves that get added to it, or is it full barrels?
No, so this is full barrels. So the Trails End 8 gets finished with Oregon oak staves.
Gotcha.
The Trails End 10 gets actually put into a full Oregon oak barrel.
That's
and
cool.
Actually aged in it, yeah.
And Oregon oak, does that have a specific name?
Garyana.
Garyana.
Garyana is what it's like commonly referred to as in the industry. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I am so excited.
You love Trails End 10.
I
So do
love Trails End 10.
Sure.
We finished our bottle almost too long ago. And I've
Well,
been
our latest bottle.
Our latest bottle, almost too long ago. And every time somebody's like, we want something unique, something local, what should we get? And we always point them in the direction of Trails End 10. Like, and they've never been disappointed. Like,
Sure.
We've
everyone
put
that's
it
bought one.
in blinds against other toasted
Yeah.
bourbons. We've put it in blinds against 10-year aged bourbons. It has come out on top fairly handily, so we are absolutely
so
ready for this
excited.
tasting. If there's one bourbon that we should be selecting for our very first single barrel pick, it's this brand of Trails End, and we are so excited to
Yeah.
be here and to try these now. I'm ready.
Yes. I tend to start.
Yeah, you're drifting.
I drift back like the
I was
entire
gonna say, yeah, I'm trying to line up with you. I'm like,
I
okay,
know,
yeah,
I know.
here we
Each
go,
time,
here we
each
go.
time she has a
Yeah,
sip, she
Because I
drifts
take a
little
sip
bit.
and then I
Yeah.
like think about it back
Right,
here.
yeah,
and then I, like, roll
absolutely.
back
Well, I like
forward.
that one, and then she's
I
over
love
here
it.
reaching for the...
It's basically why we sit, I think, when we do videos, because
Right.
every so often we'll stand and
Because we'd be in the other room.
I'm like grabbing the table and I'm like behind Phil
Sure,
and doing all this.
absolutely.
We have very little spatial awareness when we're filming.
Okay.
All right, glass number one.
Do you want me
Gary,
to
do you
hand
want to
it to you?
introduce us? Or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Or-
so this is the barrel number 2216. It's at 119.2 proof.
Beautiful.
Yes, and I do believe it's actually the lowest proof. Yeah, it is in fact
Okay.
the lowest proof out of all of them. So
Thank you. And
course.
these Trails End 10,
Thank you.
typically,
Of course.
when you find it on the shelf, it's 105 proof, right?
yes,
So this will be a new experience for us as well.
119.
Oh, that's
You
a
smell
smell that
that?
makes me smile.
I know you smell that oakiness.
The caramel, the richness on this brand, always.
Well, we have to do a cheers on the first go.
I agree with that, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for
Cheers,
having
sir.
us.
of course.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Oh my god.
I would not guess 119 proof on that.
No, it just well, yes. First out, it does
Ooh.
not drink like 119 proof. I got a nice bubblegumness to
Sure,
this one.
sure.
It's sweet. I should call my flavors out in colors.
Yeah.
And this is definitely in that like pinkish range of enjoyment.
We're on different tracks because this is brown.
What?
It is brown.
You're getting all the
sugar.
yolk?
Oh, it's so much brown sugar. It is real vanilla
Mm.
bean. The vanilla beans that are that long stringy black bean. That dark richness. The decadence. Oh boy, is this good.
That's all in the finish, but that first initial punch is just sweetness, sweet, delicious, sugary delight, and then
Sure.
you get that oak and vanilla on the finish. It kind of like mellows out, like it kind of goes, takes you down the slide.
Yeah, I would agree. There's some candy-tastic flavors up front on this. It is. There's chocolate here, but that is sweet milk chocolate. That is not bitter. It's not dark in
Yeah.
any way. That is right down Main Street. Very sweet, very tasty.
Every now and again on these like Trails End tastings, whenever we're doing them, there is a candy-like quality that I find at the very beginning. I liken it to like just like nerds because it kind of just like
Yep.
pops and there's all different kinds of weird, just like
Definitely.
unique like tanginess to it. But then it kind of just like balances out, right? And like for me, it's like this really highlights that like Madagascar vanilla, there's a lot of that going on there. And then that finish just kind of just lingers there with that with that vanilla.
This nose continues to make me smile.
Yeah.
I want to finish this glass at some
Right
point
now?
today, specifically because I love the nose on an empty glass sometimes. If it's a really
Totally.
potent aromatic whiskey, this has that, and you just know there's going to be a boatload of like sweet tobacco and brown sugar and all that vanilla just left over. Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's good whiskey.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing about it. This is definitely one of the. I find this on a lot of bourbons that we drink too, where it's like that sweet quality comes in on the first like 1 or 2 sips, and then all those flavors, like in your 3rd sip, 4th sip, then it just comes into just this wonderful melting pot of those caramels and oak
Yes.
and deeper, darker flavors that kind of like finish the ride for you.
Sure.
And I don't know if it's connected to this whiskey or something else we drank today, but I just had a little burp, and it tasted like artificial grape candy. And how nice is that? So
Yeah. Ooh, I like this one.
I like this one a ton. Boy,
I knew I
that's-
would like it.
Yeah, that's special whiskey. That vanilla. Man, all of these have such great vanilla notes.
I'm gonna have to get in my more discerning hat because I've liked everything we've had on the table today.
One of each.
Exactly.
We're gonna
Have them all. Yeah.
We're gonna take the mix pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that would be hilarious. You have to, everyone has to buy one in a 6-pack, so
Right.
one of each bottle.
Welcome to the Bourbon Vat. We're
variety
trying
pack.
something
Yeah.
new today. It's called the sampler platter.
Everyone, you get 750 milliliters of everything.
Yes.
Oh, that's either the best idea or the worst idea we'll
That's
ever
funny.
have. That's fantastic.
All right. Perfect. You ready for the second one?
Here we go.
Okay.
Please.
So this is barrel 2215. It's at 121.6 proof.
Okay.
Nice. We'll step
So a
up.
little more heat.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look at those colors. Yeah, look at those colors are beautiful.
It's incredible. It's one of the darker colored whiskeys I've seen in a while.
The nose smells less sweet on this one.
Yes.
Ooh.
There's a different balance here entirely.
I'm getting butterscotch
I was gonna say that too. Yeah.
and oak on the nose.
Oh man,
Try it.
try it.
This one's quite different than the glass number 1. These are darker flavors in this one. That oak really shines. I'm getting a lot of brown, like darker brown sugar. Really, like nice hit of vanilla on this one. It is like a creamy, real vanilla, not artificial at all.
This is a liquid Snickers bar.
Wow.
The caramel. There's even a little bit of like a hint of just a little peanutty crunch in there, almost like a Spanish peanut or something.
Yeah.
Just like something you would find in a dessert.
When I initially was tasting this one, and this one stood out because there was almost like a nuttiness to it that like was like really there's this nice chocolate like note that kind of just like follows through and kind of like ebbs and flows through those other flavors, and it kind of like there's this nice cohesion, I think, that kind of starts to kind of come together. And that's a really good thing. Snickers bar. I was looking for a way to explain it because there's a nutty like quality to this one.
Because there's a little caramel, a little vanilla. It's all there. The nuttiness, the chocolate. There's a spice here that's nice for balancing this. Whereas glass 1 was super approachable, and I think again would appeal to the masses. The quick difference here is this is a little bit of a step up, I think, in terms of it, maybe a beginner whiskey drinker would appreciate glass 1.
Right.
This one right off the bat, sort of, it's making my mouth water, is appealing to me in a completely different way.
Yeah, I was thinking that this glass almost feels a slight bit elevated. The proof point does come across on this one. It feels like it drinks warmer, but not in a bad way. It's just giving me like a nice little hug here,
Yes.
right? A tree hug. Should we do Oregon tree hug
Yeah.
instead of a Kentucky hug? We're getting a little tree hug.
You got right to that one. Nailed that. Oh, is that tasty?
Yeah, and so glass number 1, sometimes I always like to say this, that it kind of drinks colder, even though obviously they're all the same temperature, drinks colder. This one has those darker flavors and almost drinks a little bit warmer for that. The flavors just come across as those deeper, richer flavors.
Yeah. There's a grittiness to this one. Like I can just feel it. Yeah, it's like a very it sits on your palate more heavy than like that very first one for sure. Yeah.
And even, glass 1, I just went back to the nose on it, and the nose is very appealing. Very, has a ton of personality on glass 1. The brightness is there. Glass 2, you go to it, and it's like the darkness drawing you in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I kind of like that.
Yeah, it has a hint of mint for me on the finish.
There's mint.
Which makes it a little bit dry, but like
Yes.
in a sticky way, if that makes any sense, because it's dry but it coats.
You guys like dry, sticky whiskey?
Perfect, man. Here for all your enjoyable moments.
Yeah. What's your favorite whiskey? Is it sticky? We got you.
Sticky and dry.
We got you.
Gotcha.
Oh boy.
Gosh, these are very different.
Oh. And there's a dark cherry on the nose that's starting to emerge there for glass too. There is a lot to like on glass too. That is, both of these are awesome so far. Very unusual, very different from one another.
Yes, agreed.
All right.
I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
off camera. Well, not off
You
camera.
can do it
Away
if you-
from the camera.
Yeah.
Garrett picked all these. I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Attaboy, Garrett.
Yeah. just trying to go like I said, I'm a facilitator, right? Like it's the barrels that like impart all this stuff on it, right? But it is a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite things because it helps me, right? Like it helps me like hone my craft and kind of like be able to kind of better understand the barrels that we're working with and the product that we're working with, and like what it does to the liquid, like as it's aging. So it's just such a treat. Such a treat.
I was gonna say you're the barrel whisperer.
Yeah, right.
The first time that we met you was just about almost a year ago exactly.
Yeah.
I think it was because it was April of last year.
Now you've been here for what?
It's about a year and a half now. So so whenever y'all first came, I was only here for about 6 months, and I was still kind of, I mean, obviously still learning. There's still a lot to learn, but yeah, like I kind of started to like find my lane and like be able to kind of while like learning still from like Caitlin and Joe. They've been very great at facilitating and helping me kind of like grow and like feel more comfortable like in my shoes and like my place around here, and like doing more things and feeling more confident. And it's been a real like 180 turn in the past like 2 or 3 months for me. So we were just at the ACSA, the American Craft Spirits Association conference that was in Portland, and being able to kind of be with my peers and kind of have those interactions, I was like, man, like I actually do know quite a bit. Like there's still a lot I can learn, but also too, it's like being able to kind of like be around those people and have those kind of like, industry conversations. It just, it helps so much for like confidence and just understanding of like the liquid. So
How cool is that?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, we're seeing the fruits of your labor here because it's obviously paying off in our favor as well.
Yes, it is 100%.
Tell us about bottle 3 here.
Yes.
What are we getting into
All right.
next?
So the last Trails End we got here is barrel 2219. This is actually, I believe, the hottest. It's 125.3 proof.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, we upped it
That's a
like
big-
4.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's
Love
super,
it.
super hot. But yeah, this one is very interesting.
Oh, that's a beauty.
Would you say garnet? Maybe
Yeah.
a ruby?
Yeah, that's fair.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh.
That is deliciously beautifully colored.
This one's got claws. It's clinging to the inside of the glass.
Ooh, the caramel is the first thing on the nose. I mean, that comes across.
Sheesh.
Wow. I mean, it is like
That is
melted.
That is
like,
an aggressive, like toasted marshmallow caramel nose.
yeah, it's not cheap. Whatever it is I put in caramel brownies. Caramel. This is like rich, high
You
end.
don't put high-end caramel in it?
No, I do not.
I couldn't tell you. I haven't had them in so
know.
long. Not that I'm complaining.
That smells delicious.
That smells amazing.
It's our last one. One more
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Thanks,
Cheers.
Garrett. This is
Absolutely.
great.
Of course.
The nose while you're drinking, I got distracted on the sip because that nose as you're breathing in while you're drinking that is just so wonderful. It's such a wonderful experience. This is dynamite. My
if you-
mouth tastes delicious right now.
This one, I feel like there's more fruit qualities to it. Like I don't know, like I'm getting a lot of fruit off of this one, and it's like a little bit of like a charred fruit, So like it's there's just a
Yeah.
little bit of that like smokiness to it. But
Yeah.
man, oh man,
This is if you're a cigar or pipe smoker.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Here's what I'm gonna say. This is a very Julie moment.
I can't. I'm here for
I got
it.
distracted by the nose as I was drinking, so I didn't get that full experience of the sip. But it didn't matter because I almost got like little butterflies in my stomach because I enjoyed the flavor. Like, I can't pick you out flavors in this because I only had one sip, and I got so distracted. But I know that I loved it. Like,
Yeah.
it just like it almost gave me goosebumps how much I liked this one.
This is like eating the best Rolo of my entire life.
Rolo?
Times 1,000.
I hope so because Rolos aren't
I don't like Rolos.
Yeah, they're
That's what I'm saying. It's a really good Rolo.
that's that old candy
Hey, I've
I'm
had
not
Rolos,
talking about
all
a
right,
lot of
yeah.
modern flavors today. I'm kind of going back into my childhood, but
you're really letting people know that we're old.
all right, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Of course, Garrett's young and he knew what you were
I was
talking
gonna say,
about.
I know Rolos. Yeah.
This is 10-year aged bourbon. This isn't young either. We're going back in history a little bit.
This
Oh,
almost
wow.
feels like the parents of 1 and 2.
Sure.
Like I can feel the notes. I can taste the notes of the first one we had. Some of that, what I always describe as like pink bubblegum, which I can't remember what you always told me that flavor is. It's not obviously pink bubblegum, but
Probably pink bubblegum. I don't know what you're talking
maybe.
about.
But there's some of those like fruity, light flavors in there, and then you get like the deep darker flavors of this one, but they kind of almost melded together to
Yeah.
make this beautiful, very cohesive. I think the flavors are really pronounced, and
It's a
just
singular slam dunk.
so balanced.
That is a singular slam dunk. That flavor profile, it's going to appeal to everybody. The proof point is massive, but it doesn't drink that way, which makes it extremely dangerous because it is so drinkable.
Wow, this is like
Oh, if you paired that with a cigar or sitting around a campfire, holy cow.
sometimes I enjoy something so much that I forget. Like my brain doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm
Like
broken.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to figure out the flavors. I really want to tell everybody what this tastes like, but sometimes the experience is more.
You said caramel brownies, and I'm
don't know.
I'm with that.
Yeah,
There's
caramel brownies is great.
great, sweet, not dark chocolate, but rich, decadent quality chocolate here.
Yeah.
Caramel, the little spice that you're getting as a balance, which I think is coming from the proof, because I'm not really getting a flavor associated with it. It's just, it lasts an eternity. That finish never goes away, and yet I want more. I want to keep drinking it.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
it's this like 3-layer event, right? Because like it goes up into this high. There's this like high, just like fruit-like quality, right?
Yeah.
And then you're right, and then it just drops, and like kind of similar to the second one, like it gets like heavy, and then it kind of like balances itself back out, and it's just kind of just like oscillating there, and just kind of just sits there towards the very end, and it's a ride.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Man,
Man, the nose now is very sweet, very fruity. The oak is
we
just
just need
so.
to do
The
6
oak is
barrels
just
of
so
McCarthy's.
wonderful.
or 6 barrels of Clear Creek. That's what we need to do.
I'm telling you, our little hip. What if we do a hip flask of variety pack?
6-pack hip flask?
Never been done before.
It rolls off the tongue. We might as well be the first ones to do it.
I love it.
We'll send it out in a bandolero.
I know that you. Just like
Love it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Cross your check.
It's a mix and match. You're gonna pick the order that you like them the best.
Everybody
and
looks
then-
like John Popper with all
Yeah.
the harmonicas on it.
How fashionable everyone's gonna be. Yeah. It's gonna be wonderful.
Wear it to church.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I
all
know
right.
that I'm supposed to be A/B testing, but I had to.
We got
I
it.
got to put that one down.
I just revisited classes 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and they're all awesome.
I know. This is gonna. I thought the first round was gonna be hard. This one's gonna be even hard.
It's even harder.
Can
Joe.
I yell from off camera?
Yeah.
Hey Garrett,
Yes.
why did you put certain barrels back? What made the barrels
Oh.
that suck?
Yeah. Well,
Good
so
question.
yeah. So and that's a good point as well. While I was going through, there were a few that were just like there were these rough edges to them, like and that's what we always talk about with Oregon Oak. It does a really good job, particularly with the McCarthy's as well. It does a really good job of kind of rounding out those rough qualities that you get, that harshness, that like
Yeah.
spice, whatever it may be. For McCarthy's, it's like the smoke. It kind of like does a really good job of balancing. And so there were a few that I tried that I was like, that just it's not quite there. Like it'll
Yeah.
get there, eventually, but like each barrel kind of takes its own time to age.
Yeah.
And these were the three that really stood out to me as something that was like, okay, the Oregon Oak has worked its magic on these.
Yeah, 100%.
And those other ones with time will eventually be at that point. But yeah, it's just not quite there yet.
I think you said that perfectly, because in the first round, remember I had singled out number 2.
Yes.
And I said there was something about it, and I think for me that one had a little bit of that rough edge you're talking about, but I also understood that your palate kind of gravitates to that kind of flavor
I'm a roughneck.
profile.
Yeah. I'm not an elegant
still,
guy.
But still, like it, because those flavors really came together, it wasn't that. Like I always say, there was a bitterness, and that's never the right word for it, but maybe a little bit rough. So I like things that obviously are like.
Well, when you're drinking
fruit.
Irish whiskey, you like things that are rough around
I
the
guess I
edges.
do. I don't know. Maybe
Sure.
it's just
it all
it's
depends.
just all
Everybody's
depends.
got different tastes for everything.
Yeah.
I have to say that for these three, I have one that has fallen off of the pace.
Have you?
Yeah, I've got one that I don't like as much.
Before you say anything, I just wanted to let you know while you were talking, I did a little nose of the glass. Maple syrup.
On 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
On the nose.
You know
Yeah.
I love maple syrup.
Anyway, go ahead.
Do you want to? Well, I don't
Well-
want to interrupt your tasting.
I have not done any A/B testing yet. One has fallen off for you?
One has certainly.
Was
yeah.
it 3? Just kidding.
3.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Feels like you.
He's like, yeah,
Come
right.
on.
You're nuts.
I literally got giddy
Wow.
when I tasted 3 for the first time.
Same here.
I don't know why, but it made my toes curl a little
So,
bit.
jeez, I've
Yeah.
never even done that. So,
Good point. We're keeping that. We're keeping that in the video.
Yeah, keep it. Don't cut it.
okay.
Go on the Patreon, cut
That's
at
gold.
least.
That's
Yeah.
gold.
I did chew through these a little bit.
Sure.
And I love number 3, so I didn't even try that one again.
Sure.
But for me, something about glass number 1 stood tall between my A/B testing.
Really?
And I think that you're going to go with glass number 2, and I feel like our secondaries are just off today.
I think you're right. Glass 1 for me, it's the candy note. It doesn't hit my palate as well with all these dark, decadent, rich flavors. It's that sort of artificial fruit sweetness that I like, don't get me wrong, but I think it's so unexpected that it's throwing my palate off. I don't expect something that bright and sweet to come out of the glass after the nose is so rich and decadent. And it something about that is just an inconsistency to me.
Yeah.
And again, it's great. It just feels different.
That
It
was
feels
our,
unique.
That was our Amaretto
Yeah.
barrel.
Yeah, that was the one.
We picked it and we were like, wow, that's got some really interesting cherry notes on it
Yeah.
that you would never expect, which is one of the key reasons why it was decided upon.
Yeah.
But whether it works or not, we're here to offer you variety,
Yes.
Yeah.
and we're here to offer you choice, and you do that the best by sometimes taking the oddball ones.
For my palate, I really do need to spend some time. I think with glass number 1 and 2 in this set, and glass number 2 and 3 in the first set,
Yeah.
just to really kind of like work through which ones I like better. Because in pure fashion, like I like one better going this way, and then one better going this way, and then
Absolutely.
you're just kind of like at the end.
Well, that's what just happened to me
You know.
because I just went glass 1 to glass 2, and that time I liked glass 1 better
which is what happened to me.
because I think glass 2 is more cohesive, but does that make it better?
Right.
Tricky.
Or
It doesn't
does
matter
it even
because
matter
just-
because we love glass number 3 so
Let's
much?
have a quick sip of glass 3 because this might be a quick decision
Yeah.
right here. That nose is ridiculous.
There was a bit of a sweet corn nose
Yeah.
right there. There's something sweet and buttery about the nose, and even on the palate a little bit.
There's a little leather showing up on this one too now. It's all here. Everything is happening in glass 3. Wow.
I just love tastings. You just
Baseball
get,
leather.
You just
Yeah,
get
like
so much
specifically
different.
the ball.
Right? Yeah, spring training.
Yep.
It's got that.
Yep.
It's got that leather plus worked in dirt.
Yeah.
Little
but
pine
like-
tar, man.
Little pine tar, a
Yep.
lot of moisture,
Yep.
like fresh soil.
Yeah, it's earthy.
It's got a petrichor thing going on that's wild. It's like pine forest.
Yeah, it's foresty. It reminds me of the outdoors. It reminds me of this season, the spring, the earth, the growth. Glass 3 it's got everything that I'm looking for.
I love glass 3. I told you that it made my toes curl.
There's-
And even if that was my one and only experience with that in the whole bottle, it was worth it. Like it made me very happy.
I don't
Well,
know if
there's
it made
no
my
need to
toes
decide
curl.
today if
Yeah.
you do want to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
You can take whatever samples you want to go back with you.
Yeah. Of course.
It's our pleasure to offer them so
Yeah.
you can make the decision that's best for you
Yeah.
and the people you represent
Yes.
and us, who you
Yeah.
represent.
We're happy to take
You're like,
anything.
we're happy here.
We're happy to take anything you send us with,
Yeah.
but I do think that glass 3 here, there's something very special about that, and I don't think that there's any question on that's the one that I would pick. Do you think so too?
I love glass 3.
Yeah, I think glass 3 is our pick.
What? Yeah, when you were tasting through it,
Yep.
all 3 with us, what do you think?
This one highlighted. This one was immediately like on my radar as because it was funny, because it was that progression. I'm pretty sure I literally pulled them just like this, and so so it was just this like
It felt like
this
they
like
married.
evolution. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was like this. It was like this lovely evolution.
That was the last one you
Yeah,
picked.
it was this lovely evolution, and everything kind of came together on that last one.
It's beautiful that it drinks this way, and it's so decadent and rich and sweet, but it's there's also a lightness to it because of the flavor profile. Ultimately, I do think that this is a perfect candidate to go into the bottle at this strength and let people put their water in it, put their ice cubes in it, drink it the way that you like, because it's strong, but it is not overpowering at all. This is a beautifully tasty glass of whiskey.
I will say that from the 6 that we tried today, they're all at Cask Strength. None of them drank, like sometimes you drink something at Cask Strength and you are like, you take that sip and you almost like have this like moment where you're like, got to get used to this, right? Like it kind of settles in, you love it, but like there's a moment. There was never a moment in any of these tastings where I was like, okay, like take a breath and like, this is what we're doing today. They drink just wonderfully.
This is an oddly three-dimensional glass.
Yeah.
Like the smell here and the smell here, equally powerful,
Yeah.
but wildly different.
Yeah.
And you don't get that very often. I do like this one a lot, and
Yeah.
I almost want to say you can't have it.
I know, exactly.
We shouldn't have celebrated it so hard.
You're like, we can cut this part.
No, it's a really cool pick. Like it's doing things that you don't typically get.
Yeah.
And then for the less flattering comments, which is the one that traditionally distillers like the most, there's a tiny bit of airplane glue in there that I really find charming.
I think,
that's an easy decision for me. That's
I think-
glass 3.
yeah, I think I'm going to stick with I actually do have an order for this side of the table, and my order is 312, which is, I think, different than your order, but
It's like you said, when I go one way, I get it one way. When I go the other way, I get it the other way. But no matter what, glass 3 is in first
the
place.
lead.
When I go
Yeah.
this way, glass 2 wins out. When I go this way, glass 1 wins out. But
Yeah.
glass 3 always wins.
And Julie, I'm agreeing with you on this one. It's
Yeah.
a 3-1-2 for me.
Oh, great.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel vindicated from that, but I do feel.
Well, it's
that makes
because
me
we can
happy.
gang up. And,
You're like-
Yeah,
wrestle
I
people.
was gonna say, I feel like I'm more in your,
I know.
your.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
Well, there you go.
I actually really like the qualities of 2.
Yeah.
There's
That Snicker bar cohesiveness
Totally.
is really something else. And that's that's a great barrel too. Maybe
I'm
we'll come back and
excuse
get that one
myself to
later.
the stills.
Yeah. Where do casts to go on?
Yeah.
It's not
So-
just fun and games over here.
So we have our very first barrel ever picked.
Are we going to announce that on here, or are we going to do like a cliffhanger, like find out what we picked, click the link in our description?
I think it's pretty obvious which one we're going with.
Come on! Well, I haven't even tried the first set. Like, how do we want to end this? Do we want to say, like, we want to go with this? Because I want to taste the first glasses, make my decision, think about it.
This entire cut is going online. I'm not cutting anything.
For the patrons, they would love to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see this.
Glass number 3 is the one that...
It's the clear front runner.
Yeah, and I think that, 1, it'll appeal. 2, it offers something a little bit... like for the bourbon drinker, like I think that they're gonna love it. For a beginner person who wants to delve deeper, it's a perfect choice.
And experiment with ice
Yeah.
and water and all the things.
Yeah, and for somebody who is just like, like, what the heck, let's get into it. it drinks so wonderfully and easy. Like,
Yeah.
I hate saying the word easy, but
Yeah.
it just drinks so flavorful.
This whiskey is painfully tasty.
Painfully easy to drink the whole 750 milliliter bottle.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not gonna say that.
It's still glass 3 by a landslide for me. All right, well, we are going to shut off the cameras right now. We're going to continue our tasting off camera, and we will be back. And
Maybe
do
we'll have a
it'll-
decision.
We'll have a decision, and there will be just this unbelievable little transition that
Yeah.
we put in the video. You're going to be really impressed by our skills in video editing.
If we make a decision today, it'll be this background. If we don't, it'll be a different background.
I hope we make a decision today. Anyway, we'll be back. All right, we are back, and we have made a decision.
I am very excited to say we're gonna go with the Trails End 10 or sample number 3.
Bottle number 3. Grab that bottle. Grab it. Don't let it go. That's the decision right there. 125.3 proof. This is number 2219, and it's all ours, the Bourbon Van, and you will be able to find this bottle at sharedpour.com. Thank you so much to Shared Pour to working with us. Thank you so much to Clear Creek Distillery for working with us. Joe, Caitlin, Garrett, we are so excited. This was such a fun day. And we may come back for some of that apple brandy finish Trails End 8. That stuff's awfully good, but there was one bottle on the table that spoke to us today, and that's the barrel that we are going home with from wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Oh, thank you. Psst. This one was my favorite. Julie knows best.